Alrighty. I know I haven't posted anything. And again, I don't have too many viewers yet. But anyway, hopefully that'll change. In the meantime, I've been busy. I recently saw somebody else do a bench power supply using a ATX 24 pin based adapter, basically, which is what we're looking at right now. Unfortunately, I had already been in the middle of designing this one. Actually, that one's all 5 volts. This one has the 3.3 and the 5 and the 12 and the 5 and the -5, which this would be good for bench power supply. Although I'm using, let's see here, where are they? There's PC mount wire terminals, which this is a different board entirely for a different project. What I'm talking about is these guys right here, and that's what these are. Now I put 2 of these together. A little excited. I put these 2 together, and they're together that way so that I can simply slide a fuse in there. Now these things are really tight for the fuses, but that's the idea. And that's the idea of these fuses here. And on this design that I did in ExpressPCB, actually ExpressPCB Plus, I could not find a 20-pin ATX header, let alone a 24-pin. I was able to get the resistor and the LED, which I eventually did this total 5 volt supply. Where's the total 5 volt? Okay, so this one's just completely in 5 volts. Still had the grounds down here, up here. These 2 wire terminal mounts are for a switch to put on the front panel. But then all the 5 volts over here. Now, I got around, because I had so much trouble trying to get the footing correct on the for the ATX power connector in ExpressPCB. I even printed out, which I liked about the ExpressPCB, that let me know that it was definitely wrong. This is just a minor one side of the top layer showing the silk layer in the holes. But I was having so much trouble with that. I went to EasyEDA and I had a lot easier of a time getting these pads in the right footprint, I think. I have 5 of these boards on order. I want to design a couple more of these, namely for 12 volts and 5 volts only, which will be for this guy right here, which is my servo motor control. I shouldn't say servo motor control, my servo motor power drivers. But same thing here, and I switched the sides around too here. Although I have 2 LEDs here. And evidently somebody's home. So let me just knock off the recording for now. Alright, turns out nobody was home. Dogs were just carrying on. Got me a power supply, brand new one, because the one I mangled for this project of getting a tower of 18650 charging station, basically. I know I getting a bit tongue-tied, but anyway. This was my original design for here on a charging tray, and I'm probably going to rework this because, as you can see, let's get this in some better light. What we got here is, that's how that's going to work. So I got my +5 and ground. Originally I was going to have all these just tied to ground, and I was just going to use wires with terminal connectors and run them to the grounds. But then when I got the fuses on here for the positive side, I realized, oh, I don't have enough room to mount any more terminals down here to run the wires to. And the other thing about one of these trays, and there'll be multiple of these trays, on that guy right there. Power supply will go at the bottom. And these trays will slide down here. I have the backstop in the back there. And I will use some half-inch. Now this is half-inch. I got this 1-inch pipe that'll slide down. I'll cut it here, and then this guy here will rest on top of that. And what's left is I'll basically use these as spacers as I stack up the shelves. And on the opposite side of this, back into the light, underneath here, I routed out the board, and this is 16 gauge solid wire that I routed out with, let's see if I can get this open here. I bought one of these inexpensive accessory kits from Walmart actually. I used this bit here. I don't know where my roller is. To do the initial milling out. And after I was done with that, I went through it again with this round bit just to make sure the wire would actually sit down in there better. Worked out really well. I liked how that came out. As you can see, I just need to work on trying to maybe straighten the wire out a little better. And right now I just got this stuff folded over so it'll stay in place and won't flop around while I'm still working with it. And I think that's about it. This was my switch that I mounted on the other CPU that was bad. And that's why I chose to just go and buy a new one that I know it works. I even bought me a power supply tester because I've got this project, and this project down in here, turns out this power supply is actually bad as well. I put that on the tester and it's bad, so it's like gonna have to get a power supply for that. But the power adapter board that I want to build for this one needs to provide 5 and 12 volts. But I may go with 3, 5, and 12 volts. I may just use the Arduino that I'm going to use to run this. Run it with 3 volts, but then run the stepper server motor drivers with 5 and 12 volts. And it'll all be fused. That's the nice thing about the board that I've got coming. Is not only will each one of these be individually fused with 1 amp fuses, I'm going with smaller fuses, physical smaller fuses. I'm waiting for the smaller mountable terminal adapters to show up to get those on there. And I think that's about it. Thanks.